Hey guys, it's Jennifer from the Shooter's Mindset. We are live with episode 359. Got my co-host here, Greg Cannon. How's it going?
Hey everyone.
We are fresh back from the AG Cup this weekend. We were there all weekend covering it. I hope y'all got to see some of the coverage. And tonight we have with us Tom Fuller, who is the king and head and mind behind the AG Cup. And we also have the 2021 AG Cup champ, Chad Heckler. How's it going, Chad?
How's it going, everybody?
He said he's going to change his name to 2021 AG Cup champ.
No, I just finish every sentence with it.
Oh, okay. We'll see if you can maintain that all night. Just say it at the end of every sentence.
Wife's getting tired of it already.
Is she ready to smack you? Well, just to get us started, for anybody, I feel like everybody knows you, Tom, in this community, but for anybody that doesn't know you, just kind of a brief overview of like how you got into shooting and Armageddon gear and how the AG Cup idea came up.
Okay, so been involved in shooting sports a long time. After the end of a 22-year military career, I was a sergeant major of the Army Marksmanship Unit, which, as you know, is the top shooters in the Olympic trap, skeet, 22, all the Olympic shooting, as well as action shooting, 3-gun champions, and all that stuff. So that's what got me introduced to the shooting sports. And then when I got out, I went to work for Bushman, as most people know. Then started Armageddon gear, and getting involved in the PRS or being a part of the PRS or even the matches before there was a PRS. I saw it kind of grow just like the other shooting sports did. They got popular, they started growing, they started peaking. And then I was like, I've seen a lot of sports do this, from the NRA to CMP to 3-gun, F-class, bench rest. And then there's a point where they just the interest drops off, even among the top guys. And we started seeing that in PRS. Some of the top guys just kind of quit shooting. It's like, we need a aspirational event where these guys can come and challenge themselves at a different level, and it's something that most people will not be able to achieve but need to be able to strive to, and can if they put the work in. And that's where the AG Cup came in. And it wasn't about a match, it was about an event. And John Scouting at Shooting USA, me and him put our heads together, and we're like, what can we do to make this a format that's cool, sustainable, and something that the shooters will want to do? And thanks to Shannon's help this year with the PRS, I think we've got a sustainable part down. We've got a cool thing, and we've got something the shooters definitely like. We got something that I can deal with from the guy having to run it. And so I think we're there, man. And I just, in my opinion, the first year had a little bit of different feel because it was invitation only, but I think this year has probably been the best as far as how it was executed and how it ran in the feel of it and the ambiance around the match. So, and there's some guys that's been at all three that can tell you their perspective of that other than me trying to run it. So anyway, that's me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. And I do think I liked the format this year. We're going to talk a little bit more about that format when we get into the meat of the show a little bit more, but just to get us going though, Chad, you've been on the show before. You're not a stranger. We just had you on a couple of weeks ago and actually kind of talked about your training. You and Francis were on together, and that dynamic made for a really interesting AG Cup. But for anybody that missed that show and maybe doesn't know who you are, give a little overview of like how long you've been shooting, what got you into it.
Yeah, so this will be my third time on the show. I think the first time was early 2020 when the pandemic started. Man, that was a long time ago. I can't believe this stuff is still going on. I mean, this is crazy. So I started getting into PRS. I think my first match was 2018, maybe. My first PRS actual match was at, it was LRSC, and I think you were there. Yeah, so that match is notoriously rainy and miserable, and that did not disappoint. So I gave myself one chance there, and I was like, you know what? I like being miserable and challenged. think I said last time, I mean, the first stage I ever got, this first score I ever got in a PRS match was a 0, first stage. And then, and then I shot for the first time. There's a 1,450 yard target in a, one of the troop lines. And I never shot past 1,100 at my local range, or 1050. And I hit the target. It was a full size Zipstick at 1,450 both times. First time ever shooting that far. So thanks to Applied Ballistics on that one, and Kestrel. That was pretty awesome. And then 2019, I just, I wanted to see if I could make it to the finale. That was my ultimate goal. So I was like, I'm going to shoot 3 PRS pro matches. I'm going to shoot 4 local matches and see if I can get into the regional, and made it both ways. And then at that point, I was like, I need to, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm like, I want to start building my own rifles, because I can't reliably get my rifles rebarreled quick enough. It seems like everybody's busy. And so I bought a lathe and started doing my own barrel work. And then people started asking me about it. And I'm like, okay, be patient with me. And fast forward to 2021, I won my first pro match at K&M. Pretty amazing experience. And I won another pro match in Michigan, which turns out Sheldon said that was the toughest match of the year, based on his scoring system. And it was pretty damn tough. I mean, it felt very similar to this match, actually on day 2 with all that wind. And so I did shoot not the first AG Cup match. My first AG Cup match was last year. That was at Arena, I'm pretty sure. That was the name of the place. A little bit different format. It was a cut every day, cut line. They basically cut the field almost in half each day. And I made the cut the first day, did not make the cut the second day. So I didn't get to experience the third day. So my goal in 2021 was I want to make day 3. So I ended up making day 3, and turns out I actually won the whole match.
It was very exciting to watch too. I do have to tell you, Brad Wright says he likes that hat.
It's my new favorite hat. So the story behind this hat, real quick, going in for the interviews, they interview everybody that makes it to day 3. And I realized that since I was at a team Loophole this year, I didn't have any logos on my jersey yet. And I didn't have a Loophole hat on. So I said, hey, Brad, give me your hat real quick. And so he's like, but this is my favorite hat. I don't know how to get this again. So he's like, well, you can have it. Just take it. I'm like, thank you. This is a sweet hat. It's like nice black camo, nice raised rubber letters. So I'm like, this is my new favorite hat. I'm going to wear it on Sunday. And now it's really my new favorite hat. I'm not taking it off.
I heard you weren't going to take the belt off either. I'm surprised that
it's not super comfortable sitting down. So if I was standing, for sure, I wore it to work today.
He did. He sent me a picture. I was like, he said, I wore my belt to work today. And he sent a picture. I about died laughing. That's hilarious. Well, so you don't just go and win in a nice, boring fashion either. You have to make it a nail biter. For anybody that watched the coverage on Sunday, we couldn't have planned it to be any more exciting than it was. The way that things were shifting, and it looked like going in that Chad was going to win. And then
I had no idea of that, by the way. I didn't look at the scoreboard until Tom made me look at it right before the 10th stage, right before I shot my last stage. And honestly, I thought about it all day. I'm like, should I go look? I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know I'm doing good. And then people keep looking at me and telling me, hey, keep going, and at lunch, I just went and took a nap in the van. I'm like, I'm just going to get away for a minute. I think George drove by in the Kubota, and then he backed up and he had his camera out and he was taking a picture of me sleeping. That picture might exist.
I think Francis was sleeping on the stairs too.
He was sleeping on the stairs up to the pavilion. I was sleeping in the van, and I think we were just trying to not get in each other's heads, number one. And we didn't want to look like we were doing anything, that wasn't allowed. So we just we were just chilling, listening to music and relaxing and getting ready.
That's good. So going into that last stage, you looked at the scoreboard and then you dropped 2.
Yeah, I did.
And you hadn't done much of that all day. And it was like, we were all like, oh.
Well, I dropped 2 on the stage right before that too. Honestly, I'm sure we're going to talk about the course of fire and the stages and the target sizes. And maybe we should just get right to that. Tom, you're on mute. Okay, I'll go for it. So this match was intended to test the top shooters, right? And I really feel like it did. I'm so happy that the targets were the way they were. The course of fire was the way it was. I mean, there was only a couple stages I thought, you know what, this is a little bit out of the ordinary. And the only reason that they weren't my favorite stages is because I felt like there was probably some disadvantage for different regional shooters or different people that had different equipment. But other than that, like every stage was the perfect size target with the perfect amount of movement in 90 seconds, which, you know, I'm used to. And it tested the shooters and it separated the shooters for the first 2-day match. So it was spread out pretty good.
It was spread out.
Yeah.
So
With one man on top.
that's right.
My boy, Francis.
Francis. He shot really, really, really well too. Well, and so he was in the mix of all this too. So like y'all were all so close, but you were kind of ahead of everybody else. And then those last 2 stages, you dropped 2 and you dropped 2 more. And when you did that, it ended up, so going into the last stage, you had 81 points and Jason Green had 80 points.
Mhm.
However, you only had a 9-point stage left and he had a 10-point stage left.
Yeah, if we both cleaned them, we still would have went to a shoot off, right?
Right. If both of you cleaned your stages, or if both of you dropped 1, or if both of you dropped 2, you still would have ended up tied. So it kind of made it was like you were tied going in. And then you ended up, both of you dropped 2. And when y'all did that, it brought y'all down to be level with Austin Bushman, who was also shooting lights out that day. And I think he cleaned his last day. He either cleaned or dropped one. Anyway, put him right up there with y'all. And we ended up with a 3-way shoot off, which was like, I thought Tom was over there like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Like, so for anybody that didn't watch the coverage, it was so stress inducing. Regina said that she popped popcorn. Everybody at home was watching. We had like 120 people watching it live. So we knew who was going to be first through third. We just didn't know who was going to fall in which slot. So twofold question. First one to Tom. What were your thoughts when you realized there was going to be a 3-way shoot off occurring?
Okay. Well, we try to set the match up that it's hard enough that we have separation. And day 1 and 2 worked out that way. And day 3 was working out that way because going into the last stage, I'm like, okay, no ties, which you guys like the ties because it makes good drama for media. And Scouting definitely loves the ties because wait till you see how he plays this out on Outdoor Channel on Shooting USA. It's going to be amazing. But for me, it's like, dang it. But when you get this level of shooter in a 1-day match at 102 rounds, I mean, it's really hard there's just not enough rounds to make it separated out like it was on the 2-day. And I'll answer your question just in a second, Jennifer, but we change targets every day based on conditions. We would look at the weather the next day and we're like, it's not going to be as bad as we thought. So we run out and change targets. And then we woke up that morning and we're like, okay, well, the weather's changed. So we ran out and changed targets again. And then day 3 was the mildest day. So we went out there and changed all the targets to be very small, really, in my mind, to make it difficult, to make it a hard match. But at the same time, it's easy to make a hard match, but it's hard to make a match that's challenging, but also doable. And you've got the numbers on that. I know you'll go over them later about cleans and all that stuff, but this match is not supposed to be easy, but I don't want to be stupid either. You know, you can make a match too hard. But to answer your question, when it was a 3-way tie, part of me was like, this is going to be great for TV. But I really didn't want it to happen that way. I really didn't. But when you look at a shoot off, it's almost like there's just an extra stage in the match. You know, it's like, okay, we've got a 3-way tie and we're doing a shoot off, or it's like we're doing one more stage and whoever does the best wins the match. And that's kind of how I looked at it. And it just turned out that way. You know, it's the first time we've had a 3-way shoot off. it may happen again, but I think laying behind the gun, pulling the trigger at small targets is the best way to settle that, right? So it all worked out well. And Chad, you were on fire. You were the best shooter that day, and you did it. I mean, and you walked away with it. It was earned, it was deserved, and that's just the way this format is, you know. And we will always take your feedback, and everybody that shoots this cup's feedback of how we can make it better. But there's no way to make it more fair than to do, you know, there's a tie, you shoot it off, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get a complaint as far as target sizes go from any of the shooters that shot the cup that saying that the match was unfair or the targets were too small. I mean, I thought they were appropriately sized for the field of shooters that you had. And I really appreciate the fact that you guys went out there and made them smaller on the last day. I mean, for the shooter brief in the morning, Shannon's like, get out your matchbook and grab a Sharpie. And we held it up and he's like, all right, cross out these targets, cross out these targets. And they're all like 25% smaller. I thought it was awesome. As far as the shootout goes, like you said, I didn't want it to end that way. Any one of us could have hit one more target and it wouldn't have been an issue, right? But also when you look at back and you start saying, what if any one of us could have missed one more target and not even been a part of it? So I think all three of us, I mean, we were stoked to be there. Do you remember, for Tom, do you remember me coming up to you right before the shootout, what I said? You were probably stressed out, so you might not remember.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So this is just a quick backstory. Thursday, we went out for training day, right? And I had this whole box of extra ammo I was going to shoot for train up day, except I wanted to chronograph I
do remember now. Yeah.
So I wanted to chronograph my match ammo for that day, and I just got carried away and I started shooting it, and I shot 100 rounds of match ammo that day, and I was like, okay, that was good. I know all my stuff's lined up. Well, fast forward to day 3. I also shot one more evening just to check my data after day 1. I'm like, okay, we're ready. Francis and I were out there, you know, probably till dark shooting, whatever. So I get back to Airbnb Saturday night after day 2, found out I make it. I'm like, all right, let's get all my stuff prepped. I'm like, where's all my extra ammo? I only have 82 rounds. 82 rounds, that's not enough for the whole match. And so I had to go back into my training ammo and pick out stuff that looked like it was from the same batch, because it was all leftover match ammo. And I chose to shoot 2 stages that were the biggest targets with that ammo, just because if it was different, you know, at least I could try to hit the bigger targets. And it ended up being the mover at 300. And then it was the black pipe underground, because there was a 2-minute target. That was the biggest target of the whole match. And it felt really huge compared to everything else, but you're inside a pipe. And I already have a gun that's long enough to not fit in a gun case. Plus you add a Maverick on the end of it. And there's no way it's like Austin Powers in the hallway trying to turn that little Cushman cart around, you know, like I couldn't get through that thing. Anyway, I look at Tom right before the shoot off and I'm like, I don't have any match ammo left, bro. And he's like, you're serious? What are you talking about? So I had to shoot practice ammo.
You got some damn good practice ammo.
Well, it was leftover match ammo. So I'm not, and it is a dasher. I saw somebody ask what caliber. It is a 6 dasher, 105 hybrids, alpha OCD brass.
Also, Francis said there's only 72 of them that you had.
It was 72 or 82, whatever it was. When I finished the last stage on that car, I only had 1 actual match round left. And so, like I said, I could see it was going to a shoot off. So I went back and I filtered through all the practice ammo and found ones that looked like they were from the same reloading batch. I figured it was a KYL. I could spot my first hit. They were all painted and then kind of correct from there.
That is funny. Well, we're going to watch it. So the shoot off was only a couple minutes long. And so we thought during this, it'd be cool to watch it. And Chad, as we're watching it, we'd love to hear like your thoughts, like what was going through your mind, you know, as it's going on. And if you need us to pause it, say pause it a minute. But I think everybody would love to hear your thought process and what you were thinking as this was occurring. And
all right,
now,
let's talk over it, or?
Yeah, you can just talk over it. But Tom, do you want to tell them what they were shooting?
Yeah, I don't remember the target sizes.
Well, just the starting size.
I don't remember the target sizes, but basically it was a plate bracket 745.
Yes.
And I think we started at
12 inches.
Was it 12? I thought it was smaller than that, but it was 12, 12, 10, 8, 6 target sizes as we went down at 7:45.
And they drew numbers of who went first.
Yep, we drew numbers. It was we had poker chips in a bag, and whoever drew number 1 shot first. Whoever drew number 2 shot second. Whoever drew number 3 shot third. And then once we did a round, we changed that out a little bit. We made them break position. Chad will tell you all about that, but yeah, we just try to make it as fair as we possibly could.
And the other 2 shooters that were in the shoot off were Jason Green and Austin Bushman, who, not to take away from them, they both shot amazing also all day on Sunday. So that's the 3 shooters. So now I'm going to shush and let Chad talk us through it.
At all shooters, you understand a course fire? Yes.
That was
Shooters,
me.
you have 15 more seconds of prep time.
Yeah, so at this point, the first thing we did was grab poker chips, and
that's about-
Bushman's first shooter. Chad, stand up.
That's about the
Or, that's
Your
fine. Go
ass
get
is
off
in the
glass,
way.
Remove your chamber flags.
Yeah,
Insert
there you
your
go, Tom.
magazines.
yeah. So the first shooter was Jason Green. I was the second shooter, and Austin was the third number drawn.
Okay. There's no time hat. 5 seconds. Austin, you are shooting target number 6 of those 10 targets, which is target number 1 on the right rack.
Yes.
Do you understand a course of fire?
Yes.
All right, you have to hit that target to stay alive, unless shooter 2 and shooter 3 miss. Do you understand the
This is a
exercise?
shoot off.
Yes.
Shooter engagement ready.
3 guys tied for first place.
First shooter.
First shooting is Austin Bushman.
Off glass, shooter number 2, engage when ready. Austin, come off glass, please.
Close.
I guess I was shooter 2. My
Shooter number 2 is Chad Heckler.
Yep, Chad Heckler now. Okay, next shooter is Jason
Chad,
Green.
come off glass, please. Jason, engage when ready.
You guys can see there really isn't much wind there, right?
It was
Barely
so
see that
calm.
flag moving.
You could hear a pin drop.
It is a miss. Miss. Jason, congratulations. You got 3rd place, sir.
Jason Green.
Jason had a hell of a weekend.
Yes, he did.
I mean, even the day 1 and 2, I think he, you know, besides Francis, I think he had the second highest cumulative score.
Chad, it is your shot. Target number 2, engage when ready.
Chad Heckler.
At this point, I watched my first impact on the plate, so I made a 1/10 correction over to the left, and I saw my bullet land exactly where I was aiming. So
Chad Heckler in a shoot off for first and second.
I knew if he hit this plate, my last call was going to be just hold center, which is kind of unbelievable.
Impact!
All right. both-
Congratulations, guys. We're going to 8-inch target. Shooter, stand up, break your position.
I thought this was a good idea.
Shooter,
Everybody can get
establish your
comfortable
position.
and
Austin, it's your target.
hold NPA on him. Just lay there for a while, but I like the fact that he made us get up and break our position, rebuild it.
This is an 8-inch square.
Yes, sir.
Engage when ready.
That looked like just an amazing body break, body and mind restart.
Yeah.
Miss. Chad, target number 3. You hit this target, Chad, you win the AG Cup.
At this point, I was like super calm because I was playing on house money. Like even if I missed this, we would have to shoot again. So I was pretty calm at that point.
And Francis.
He comes running in.
Bring it in, man.
Hell of a deal.
Holy crap! Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Heckler. All right.
The hat.
Hey, where'd my shotgun?
Chad, I think you were close to crying right there too, buddy.
Well, I couldn't help it when I look at Francis.
Right.
Yeah, Francis said, I can't do this on camera. That was just such a neat moment, the whole thing. I mean, oh, you could hear a pin drop. That's the quietest I've ever seen that range be. It was just amazing.
I was about to say there is probably 60 people surrounding the three of you. And like it would be a real awkward time to let a fart rip. Everyone would have heard it.
Holy.
Really?
Okay, moving on. So someone asked a question and it kind of ties into our number 4 question, which is talking about mindset. So Greg, do you want to hit Dan's question?
Yep. So Dan asked, he has a question from Mr. 2021 AG Cup champ, in all caps, the champ. What can you share about your mental process and how you were able to deal with the pressures of the leaderboard and the score tracking throughout day 3?
Okay, so I'll just reverse and go way back in time. My mental process for this match, and you guys know my slogan, like my phrase, the match has already started. So my mental process for this match literally started when I fired my last round at the PRS Pro finale. And I was starting to figure out, what am I going to do to position myself to be super calm and comfortable about this. And as soon as I got home, I started brass prep, prepped a couple thousand pieces of brass, and then got my ammo loaded. And I just start checking off the list. I don't want to be doing that stuff at the last minute. And then the whole drive up there, you know, Francis and I are talking about what our, you know, plan is for staying calm. We were both had our playlists and stuff like that. But to be quite honest, this whole match felt almost like a repeat of the Collis match. And Tom and I were talking before this started and with you guys, and you know, Francis burned it down at the Collis match on day 1, and he did the same thing here. So from my perspective at that match and at this one, I was just kind of rooting for my friend, and you know, whatever I could do for him to make him feel comfortable and whatever, you know, he needed to stay in the right mindset, I was going to do, because I could see the look in his eyes. I mean, the guy was going to actually, he was planning on cleaning, you know, the whole weekend. And he didn't drop very many shots. I mean, you could say you want to clean a match, but a match like this, you're not going to clean it. But if you fall slightly short of that, it's going to be greatness. And so from my perspective, I just really wasn't thinking about winning the match. I just wanted to really make day 3, because I didn't want to be there, you know, without shooting. I would have been there cheering him on, but I really just wanted to be a part of it. And that was my goal from the beginning of the year, like I said before, since I didn't make day 3 last year. So we can talk about, you know, that portion of it in a minute. But my mindset on day 3 with the direct question that was asked was, listen to my playlist, which Tom added the most badass song to my playlist, Beast. It was the first song that came on in the morning. Love that song, man. It's
how I live my life, man.
It's aggressive, but it also is relaxing. There's something about it that just, you know, gets me in the right zone. So that was my mindset from the beginning. Just stack points one after another. You know, I got a 9 on the first stage. I got an 8 on the long range stage. The next stage you got an 8, the next stage you got a 9, and I'm like, I'm not cleaning stages, but these are tough stages, and I'm just trying not to drop, you know, more than 1 or 2 points. And then about lunchtime, people started looking at me, and I'm like, I'm going to avoid the leaderboard just to see, you know, just so I don't see it. And I'm really surprised and thankful that there were no cameras like up in my face in the evening, to be quite honest. Like I'm sure they were looking at me from afar, and kind of people were looking and seeing how I was handling it. And people would come by and say, keep it up, man, you're doing awesome, you know. So I didn't know if I was in the lead or if I was close or if I had a 5-point lead. I really didn't know until the 10th stage right before, and Tom's like, all right, everybody, bring it in, you know. And you guys were doing the live feed for that. Bring it in. We got, you know, Chad Heckler at 81 points and Austin Green at 80. And then I started looking, well, he's got a 10-point stage left and I got a 9-point stage left. And so, you know, this is going to a tie, or if I drop, you know, more than he does, I'm out of it, you know. So that was my mindset, was stay in my own head, and just stay calm when I wasn't shooting, and then ramp myself up to, get into the performance mode when I was, and then get down back into that calm mode as fast as I could.
Yep. I saw you and I asked, have you looked at the leaderboard? And you said, nope. I was like, all right.
I thought about it. I thought about it many times.
I can imagine. Did the, so that kind of explains the cameras and the media. Did the format make you go in with a different mindset at all? Like having the 2-day elimination match and then the third day is a fresh start. We talked a little bit about that format before, but did that make you go into this with any different mindset, or did you just show up and shoot?
Not at all. So the most important shot you take is the one that you're actually working on right now. I forget about the last ones. I look for information and make sure that I know where it landed and what I did, but those ones are dead to me. And the ones in front of me, I'm not even thinking about yet. It's just the one shot that I'm on. And it allows me to just not use any mental energy on anything that is not needed at that point in time. And then there's all kinds of stuff in my process that allow me to be, confident that those things are not something I need to worry about either. I just need to worry about the course of fire and acquiring the target quickly and making a perfect trigger press and following through at my natural point of aim. There's only a couple things that I'm really even thinking about when I'm executing a shot.
That's awesome. Tom, what you got?
So the mental part of this game, like everybody knows, is it could be a 1-day regional match, it could be a 2-day match anywhere in the country, or the AG Cup. It's mental, right? It is, right? You guys all know how to hit a target, right? Mechanically, you know where to hold, you know how to run your gear, you pretty much have the win figured out. It's mindset, and the best competitors in this sport are mindset. They learn how to control it. So what the AG Cup is designed to make you have to deal with that mindset, right? Because we take the hard breaks for lunch, and we announce the scores right before the last stage. We want you to be the best because you're dealing with the pressure. That's why there's one big check. There's other checks too. I mean, you won $30,000 in the big check, but we gave away $75,000. But the one big check is because, man, you bring it when it's time to bring it, and you get paid. And a lot of other professional sports do that, and that's what we're trying to replicate here. So there are some things built into it to make you deal with that mindset. So Chad was inflappable. I mean, he did it, man. He was there. He owned it. He wasn't paying attention to all that side stuff. He mentioned it that, hey, Tom pulled us in and said, here's the scores. And that's the first time he thought about it. Even after you thought about it for that first time, you still kept it together, man. And that's part of it, man. No, that's not just part of it. It's the biggest part of it. So, kudos to you, man. And we're going to try to make it that way again, because that's what it needs to be to me.
One of the things that I meant to say before we got started, but I went into my old habits and started the show the same way I always did, is that for anybody that is not aware, the AG Cup had 36 competitors shooting the match with a total winnings of $75,000. There was a lot of money on the table. 17 of the 36 went home with money. With some sort of money winnings. Chad ended up with 31,000 because he also won won one of the stages, and you got $1,000 if you were the stage winner. So Chad
my stage was sponsored by Zoom Baits, so thanks to those guys. That was awesome. Every stage was sponsored by a different company, and Tom couldn't, do this match alone without all those people jumping in and throwing in that cash. It was super awesome. I already reached out to those guys, Chris, and I'm like, dude, thank you so much. That was awesome.
That's awesome. So Chad won the Zoom bait stage. Austin Bushman, who came in second, he got 7,000 for second place, and he got 3,000 for stage wins. So he went home with $10,000. Francis got 5,000 for winning the elimination match, and he got 4,000 because he won 4 stages in a row Friday morning. And when I was pulling the different, looking at the scores and who had won what, I was like, Like he won stage 3, 4, 5, and 6. So he cleaned them all, and had the fastest time. So, he won those. So he got 9,000. Jason Green got $4,000. He got 3,000 for third place, and he won a stage. Allison Zane won 4 stages, so she got $4,000. Justin Watts won 3 stages. Keith Baker and Matt Alwine and Aaron Hipp each won 2 stages, so they each got 2,000. And then Steve Eames, Derek Webster, Matt Crusoe, Greg Bell, Dave Preston, Austin Orgain, Chris Opfer, and Morgan King all won a stage and went home with $1,000. So I thought it was really neat that, yes, there is this huge purse that Chad won, but there is also a lot of others. There's a good chance if you shoot the AG Cup, you have a chance of going home with some money. So it's kind of cool.
And one thing, Jennifer, on that is like there was $75,000 amongst 36 shooters. But when it came to the last day, there was $45,000. Wait, $50,000 amongst 15 competitors on the last day. So, I mean, you could have gave everybody $2,000 and they could have left, and there would still be money left over. So there's money to win here, and that's the point, And these guys are deserving of it. I mean, the time and effort these guys put in to be good at an individual sport, they're deserving of this kind of, money and credibility and, the things you're doing for them by covering it. I mean, this is why we did it. This is exactly why we did it, because I've always felt that these guys, to be as good as they are at what they do, deserve the recognition. And this is the format and this is the platform to give that to them. So I'm glad we're able to do that. And because of the sponsors that believe in this concept and this format, it's going to keep going.
Yep. It definitely is. And if y'all want to hear more about mindset for the sport in general, it's not AG Cup related specifically, but more mindset stuff, go back and watch the show that we did with Chad and Francis, because it was an hour and a half of legitimately talking about mindset. So it's really cool now, Chad, that you won, because now it's kind of neat to see that mindset works, like what you're doing is working. So for people that really want to know, like, how should I get my mind right for shooting this? Obviously it works, because Francis won the elimination match and Chad won the day 3. So
yeah, I mean, our minivan was rolling back with like 41K in the back of it, so it was pretty heavy.
they even bought extra bacon at Waffle House.
Oh yeah, we each got 3 orders of bacon.
So I just
can afford this.
I just posted the link to our previous show. It's a YouTube link that we did with the guys. So if you want something to watch tomorrow, also you can check it out on our podcast. Just search for the Shooter's Mindset on any of your podcast apps and search for Chad Heckler, and you can listen to us at work or driving or mowing the lawn or whatever else people do while listening to podcasts.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in there that's really good. I had a lot of comments. It was one of our best shows, Chad, just to let you know.
So actually,
I've learned a ton since then. That feels crazy, but I mean, that's why I love this sport. I love the people. I mean, I love the challenge of it, and I love the fact that there's always something to be learned. It's insane. I mean, are you still learning stuff, Tom? I'm sure you are.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I'm talking about shooting here. You're probably laughing about people and all kinds of business stuff. I'm saying, like, when you shoot a match.
No, yeah, when it comes to shooting, man, if I was good enough, I would be. If I had learned it all, I would be shooting the AG Cup instead of running it. All right, so yeah, I got a lot to learn, man. So I'm just glad you guys show up and do it, man, because yeah, that's that whole mindset thing, man. I'm like the squirrel. I'm like, yeah, whatever. There's a nut that, I run to it. Yeah. And you can't do that at this level, I shoot okay, but to do this, man, that mental game, I think it makes me good at what I'm good at, but it's my Achilles heel when it comes to being good at, like something you got to be focused at 100% of the time, all day. It's not my thing, man. I'm glad it's yours, but So,
Do we have any lives, Greg?
We have like a ton of comments. Most everybody saying awesome, awesome, awesome. But let's go back. We're gonna get that one later. We got the muffler was dragging on the van. John Wade said he's Tom Fuller on the squirrels. But yeah, there's a ton of comments, but there's one we'll hit here in a little bit. And that's all we got for right now.
All right, well, let's talk about the photo. So there's a photo, Chad, of you and Francis. So what had happened is everybody was crowded around for the shoot off. Like everybody wanted to know what happened. And then all of a sudden we had our winner. Everybody went crazy and cheered for you and hugged you. And then everybody left to go down and get ready for steak dinner, right? And we were like packing up our tripod and all of our stuff. It just took us a minute. We were kind of parked away from you, but away from that. But we were packing everything up and I turned around and y'all were having just a moment. And for anybody that doesn't know y'all's story, it might be like, oh, well, it's just two dudes talking, like who cares? But I know how much y'all work together and have pushed each other through this, particularly this year, but I know the last 2 years, but have pushed each other and encouraged each other and been there for each other. Y'all have gone 1, 2 in 3 different matches this year. And then this, for the AG Cup, the way that it went back and forth and both of you shot so well, y'all travel together, you talk on the phone a lot. So I saw this moment and I was like, well, I'm going to see if I can get a picture. I had to zoom in with my iPhone. I was kind of impressed. I had to zoom in with my iPhone because we were kind of far away from y'all. And I took that picture and then I was like, come on, guys, get out of here and let's give them a minute, by themselves. And so we went, but can you tell us a little bit about this picture and what it meant to experience this event together?
Man, I can't even, I don't even know if I can comment on that right now. I'll try. It was pretty emotional. At that point, I just couldn't believe what had happened. Number one. Number two, I was glad that we were in separate squads and that we didn't have to have people seeing us around each other and shoot. I didn't want any of that, type of, I don't want to taint the event. The thing that Tom and has put together and what Shannon and him pulled off last weekend, it was pretty incredible. And I'm super thankful. And, I'm going to say thanks, until I die, to Tom and for creating this opportunity for us to strive for. I mean, everybody needs something in their life that they're passionate about. And, I hope everybody finds what they're good at and what they are they're better than anyone else at in this, life. And Francis and I have found what we're really good at, and we push each other to be better every time. And I think I've told you, we talk almost every morning from 8:30 or 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning on the way to work. And we're not talking about like just random, how's your day type stuff. Like we are picking apart everything we can to get better at this sport. And just that moment was just the culmination of the fact that we were separated all weekend, knowing that we were both experiencing the same exact thing and couldn't talk about it. And then, I was heartbroken for him, being 2 points away from being right there with me. And he was elated for me for pulling it off when I was, tied with two of the other best, competitive shooters in the world. And it didn't seem right to walk back down there and start just BSing and celebrating. It just seemed like we just wanted to sit there and talk for a minute. So that was what we were doing.
I thought Francis's quote was neat that was he posted it on Facebook today, I think, or last night. And it's a picture of the two of y'all with all of your checks back behind you stacked up. And it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I thought that was just a neat quote, because that's really what y'all have done is y'all have decided you're going to, train together, work together, push each other. And I think it's worked really well for y'all. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm thankful, man. It's making both of us better shooters, guaranteed.
now y'all are called chances.
I think that was Keely or Mike Lilly. I think that was their idea. I think it might have been Keely. That's my opinion. But
Chances is better than Frad.
yeah, it's way
Yeah.
better.
It's also a really good picture of you guys.
That was the best we could do. It was like 9 o'clock at night and dark in the park and ride.
That's awesome. And so I heard you took the belt to work today. You wore it to work.
Why? Do you have that photo too? I did send you that.
Oh, I do. I don't know that I can get it on though.
No, that's okay. No, I wore it into work and everybody's like, what the hell is that? You know, and then I put it on top of the file cabinet and let it sit there. And yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Are you gonna like take it everywhere with you? Like when you were in high school and you had to have the egg that's like your baby that has to go everywhere with you. Do you take the belt with you to the kitchen when you go to eat and take it in the bedroom?
Just till the end of the year.
Just this year. Gotcha. That's awesome.
I won't tell you what Austin told me he did with it when he handed it over to me. So
You better do the same thing, bro.
I will. I'm going to.
Oh, I touched that belt.
I don't even want to know.
Me neither.
That is too much. Oh my goodness gracious. Well,
Tom's comment was awesome though. Better do the same thing, bro. All right.
oh, my word. So talking about the match.
Hold on, I have a live. Super awkward when he still had it on in bed.
Yeah. I had a growler and a half of beer.
You can finally relax.
Yeah. I crashed pretty hard that night.
I can imagine. Well, and I know Francis said, like, I am mentally exhausted. Like, that's what he said after he said, I couldn't have done this another day mentally. It's just, he said,
Yes.
physically I could, but mentally, no.
Yes, he could have.
I think he could have too. Y'all are both pretty strong. So talking about the match itself, I did some number crunching because I'm a nerd and I like numbers and like to look at it. But the hit percentage of the elimination match was 85%. And on the day of the final, it was 86%. So the winner, so Francis on Friday and Saturday shot 85, he hit 85% of the time. And on Sunday, you hit 86% of the time.
It was really that high?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
There were 4 stages that no one cleaned out of 30. So there were 30 stages total throughout the weekend, 4 that nobody cleaned. And out of all shooters on all stages, so for instance, on Friday and Saturday, there were 36 chances for somebody to clean one stage, right? And then there were 20 stages. So there was like 850 chances that a stage could be cleaned. And out of that 850 chances that somebody could have cleaned a stage, it only happened 116 times. Which I think speaks a lot that it was definitely achievable, but it was not easy by any means, because this is top shooters that a lot of times they'll clean, 8 stages in a row, some of them will clean a lot of stages. So only 13% of the stage, chances to do it were cleaned. Now, all of 26 of the stages were cleaned by someone, but it might have only been 1 or 2 people that cleaned it.
How many zeros?
I did not go through. I thought about it partway through today, and I was like, "Oh, I don't have time to go back through that. I have to actually work at my real job."
I know somebody that got a 0 on a stage and finished, I don't know, 5th or 6th on the 2-day match. I mean, he was just killing it.
I did hear a couple of people that had like issues and had bad stages, but I didn't go count zeros. I figured I'd look at the positives. But I thought that was really neat that it was cleaned that many, that few times really, whereas a lot of times we would have a lot of people cleaning a lot of stages.
Especially shooters at that level, like you said.
Right. These are the people that do that. So what does that tell you, Tom, about how hard this match was? And then Chad, did it feel that hard? Like y'all talk about, from match director side and shooter side, the difficulty of this match versus others.
Well, the way I look at a hard match that's very challenging and difficult is that the shooters, that it is cleanable, but it's going to be very, very hard to clean. I mean, I don't want a match that's not cleanable. I don't want a match or a stage that's not cleanable. And we did have a couple, and we did it on purpose because we want, and those were the high time matches where you're moving a lot. And we do that because we want the competitors to look at it and go, man, if I really go fast, I might have a chance to clean it. But if I really go fast, I might drop too many points. So if I take my time and it's a 12-point stage and I get a 10 or an 11, that's good for this stage. So that's part of the mindset thing that these guys have to deal with the entire match. Is like, do I try to clean it because it's not that hard of the stage really? But if I start rushing, I may drop a point. And that's part of the mental process these guys have to think through. And having watched this for 3 years now, I mean, there's $30,000 in stage wins. So if somebody comes in, it's like, I'm going for it. You know, they're going to do it. But at the same time, the guys that win, like Chad, won one stage, you know, so he's taken a different approach if you look at it that way. Unless you really get on like Francis did, and he's winning and cleaning them because he just was so in the zone. He was unbeatable the first 2 days. There was nobody going to beat him. And I actually made the comment during the day 2 award ceremony. It's very rare to see somebody burn it down 2 days in a row. And he did really, I mean, killed it. I'm sure he would have wished it was day 2 and 3 instead of 1 and 2, but regardless, he still burned it down the entire 3 days. And Francis, you know, like Chad mentioned earlier, if you took a 3-day aggregate, I mean, he was the better shooter for the day or for the weekend, but that's not how this format is, because that's part of the mental challenge these guys have facing them when they get here, you know. But I feel like it went well. I saw a question on Facebook. I was like, what would I have changed if I could change the AG Cup after having done it 3 years now? What would we change? Where there's a course of fire where a guy can come in, drop 2, 3, 4 points on a stage and still win. That says a lot about the course of fire, because that's how it needs to be. Because, I mean, these stages are very challenging. These stages are very difficult, and we're tweaking them to the last second to make it, you know, deserving of these guys' skills based on the conditions that they're facing at that day. Which doesn't get to happen at most matches. And I'm proud we do that. But the biggest thing, if I were to look at changing anything, it would be, and I don't have the answer right now, but it would be, how can we make this event feel, how can we make the competitors that make this event feel special when they get here? And that doesn't really necessarily have to do with the course of fire. That has to do with how they're received when they come in, the swag, the prizes, the format, the atmosphere, and this has not got nothing to do with the course of fire, but there was an open bar the entire weekend, or the entire week. It didn't depend on whenever you showed up. I mean, there's open bar, there's great food, there's snacks and finger foods always.
There was a kick-ass band.
A great band.
Mhm.
I mean, my knees still hurt from how hard I danced. You know, we had a blast. It was so fun, and like you look around, and these are the top shooters in the world in the sport, and at the end of the day, they're just hanging around, relaxing with each other, and they're bullshitting, as opposed to a match where there might be 200 people, or let's go even to the far edge, the gap grind was 400 people and another 200 just talking to them constantly and wanting to know what they're doing. This event is structured in such a way that these guys are able to be in their own heads. They're able to relax, chill, hang out with their fellow competitors that they respect and think a lot of, And that's what I want the match to be. The course of fire we're going to handle that. It's going to always be challenging. It's always going to be just right, I hope. But that when they show up at this event, they feel lucky to be a part of this event because of how well they're treated and how well and just what a great event it is for them. And it is for them. I mean, you've got sponsors when there's $75,000 on the prize table, and in the best range in the country, in the world probably, and open bar and great food and steak dinners for 36 people, and they deserve it, because they've worked hard to earn this sort of event, and that's what I want to always improve on: is how do we make this event deserving of their skills and their talents and how hard they've worked to be here.
Thanks,
Chad?
Tom.
Do I need to keep talking?
I felt the love. That's all I want to say. As a shooter, I felt the love. And honestly, I felt the camaraderie amongst the fellow shooters. Everybody was like super cordial. And honestly, on day 3, all the shooters that, I've competed with all year, they were super awesome. So I'm just blown away by, the sport and the event and the people and the sponsors and everybody. It feels like family. It feels like, I want to find a way to get more people to experience this and Tom's vision of, having the shooters, be wowed by the event. And I think he even might, when he was drinking, might have said maybe skydiving or something like that would be cool.
I say a lot of shit when I'm drinking, Chad.
Let's go. So yeah, something like that. Like I don't know, something to bring everybody together and let's just show how much fun it can be. And obviously the money is cool, but everything else was even cooler. It was really
Chad
awesome.
alluded to it, and Jennifer and Greg, I know you guys saw it. The biggest difference in this in a normal match is when the shooting day is over, or even during the break at lunch. You've got the West Coast guys, the Oklahoma boys, the Texas guys, the East Coast and Northeast. Everybody is sitting around, and everybody it's like a big old bunch of friends. We even had a cornhole tournament for $1,000 that went on one night, just ad hoc. We just made it up.
Man,
And
they
because
were
everybody's
serious
playing
about it,
cornhole, it's
too.
like, well, let's do a cornhole tournament. Everybody throw in your money, and a foundation and Tate at Impact threw $1,000 in. We did $1,000 cornhole tournament at the last minute. It's just the funnest thing to be a part of, and for me to just sit and watch these guys. There's no other match you have that feel. And it's such a cool feeling. And I also, Chad, want more people to experience this. And it will. We will get there, and it will be that for more people, and because they're deserving of it. And the more people try, and the more people put their money where their mouth is, and throw in on the AG Cup Series, the bigger this will grow. So hell, a couple of years ago, Chad wouldn't have been an AG Cup competitor 3 years ago, and now he just won it and took home, $30,000+. So that shows everybody that's getting in the sport, hey man, if you dedicate yourself and you have a friend like Francis to help you, you're gonna make it. So,
Well, and we talked a little bit in the pre-show about it. So the way that people advanced to day 3 was you shot the 2-day match, the top 10 automatically advanced to day 3, and then 5 other shooters were picked based on their 40% of their season, so what they had done coming in, and 60% of their match. And it was like a redemption slot. It gives them a chance if they just had a bad match, but they shot really well all season. It rewards that and gets them in. So Chad, how did you get in to day 3?
So I actually was the 13th qualifier after they averaged my season score, since I was 7th in the season. And I finished 15th overall in the 2-day match, put me in 13th position.
Yep. So, he wasn't one of the top 10 that day, but he got in, and then he lit it up on Sunday. It was like he just held back.
I wasn't holding back. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, you were sandbagging, bro.
That's
No,
what
I
was
know
like,
you
"You
weren't.
stand back."
Nobody sandbags at the AG Cup. But the whole point is, it's like we want to drive, participation in the series as well, because that's good for the match directors and that's good for all the other
Sure.
competitors of the AG Cup. Because there were $60,000 plus to win just through the season to get here, and then there's $75,000 in one match. So the more participants that are involved in the season and the more people that are involved, that's more money through the season, and inevitably that's more money at the cup. And that's the thing, man. And look, if you could really be there and you could get a feel for the ambiance of this event and how it felt to be there, and I guarantee you every competitor would say the same thing. If you could experience that one time, you would never want to miss it again. I swear, I just want to be there in any way. I mean, it was my idea, and I'm glad it's come to fruition. I'm glad we have a sustainable format to keep this going for the long term. But just to be there and watch guys like Chad and Tate and Austin Orgain and all the top guys that were there, it was the most chill, relaxed event, at the same time the most nail-biting thing you ever were a part of. And I think that went for the people that were there helping run it, the people that were there like you guys, and the people that were participating in it. I think we all felt the same way about it, and I do not want to change that. I want it to be that way every time.
So I was sitting there thinking during that whole conversation, I'm like, when was the last event that was just as much all around fun as AG Cup? And I was like, oh yeah, that one time we were at Arena and we ate the good food, and then we were like throwing food at the alligators. And then I remember that was AG Cup last year.
Yeah, they had wind cheater on tap.
Yes.
Yep.
And by the way, 2 days from now, Thursday, we're canning wind cheater again at Omaha Brewing, Omaha, Georgia. If anybody's come down, if you can make it, you can can your own case and take it with you if you show up. So it'll be fun.
I have a lot shorter of a drive than you do, Chad.
I wish I could be there. I might have to mail order, call a friend, phone a friend.
Well, the good thing is we're going to have wind cheater on tap for 2021 or 2022. We got it ready. So
That's
Hopefully I
awesome.
qualify.
So it really did feel like the ultimate VIP experience. Like at some point in time, I felt like the limos were going to come in to start picking up the shooters.
yeah.
We did have one suggestion to make it a little bit more VIP. Someone made the suggestion that we have a chiropractor on site for next year.
Would
That was Mike Lilly.
I
I didn't even see the post, but I know it was. A great competitor, and we all saw him spin the wheels and throw a clutch or throw a belt or whatever he did. But
That was bad.
yeah, it was actually entertaining for the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. I laughed the first time I watched it, and then I watched it a little bit more closely. I'm like, that had to hurt, but he kept like. I feel like he probably still could have hit the target while he was mid falling because the rifle just stayed so still and pointed down range.
He's an expert faller.
He saw me, he was like, "Did you see my fall?" I said, "No." He's like, "Go get Keely to show it to you." I was like, okay. It was impressive.
Very.
We have other lives.
Francis says that he thinks that you guys can afford the drive to get the wind cheater.
Yeah, we might. And just the time.
What's a little gas money, Chad? Come on.
It's just the time.
We'll just fly then.
That's not a bad idea.
I'm pretty sure for 30 grand you can charter a plane. And if you don't know, there's an airfield. Literally, I could walk out of Armageddon Gear where I'm sitting right now, and in 100 yards, pick you up on the airfield.
All right, I might have to fly down there sometime.
Get on it, bro.
Trap some beavers.
I need all the help I can get.
Um,
Or help me pee on a bobcat, Chad.
All right, I can do that. That would be my dream, dude. Can you put that on a prize table? You had a bobcat,
Okay.
you had a
The Bobcat
bobcat Tom Fuller.
experience.
Yeah, the bobcat experience. I want it. I
Yeah,
want it.
okay. We got it.
Let's see. John Wade said he really appreciates the coverage effort. Is there a thought that you make it more of a televised or a pay-per-view on some platform for everybody else
Got it.
watching at home? What you got?
Okay, so it will be on the Outdoor Channel as it always has been. Once it airs, for like $1, you can go and watch it on pay-per-view, but it will not be real time, obviously. That's on Jennifer and Greg to make a pay-per-view event. Maybe that's cool. I mean, think about it. Bars all over the world watching Chad burn it down on the shoot off. So, hey, that's something to think about. I don't know. That's on you guys.
Oh, it would be really, really cool if we could figure out a way. I'm gonna need Shannon to come up with a
Yep.
cell tower.
Mm-hmm.
Like, doesn't he have some land? Don't you get money if you put a cell tower on your land and let them use it? Don't they get money for it?
They are exploring that actually.
I was about to say, I mean, surely we're good enough we could shoot through it, right?
I mean, we
Yeah,
could just
sure.
put it not like on the range, but like behind it or something.
I don't know. I kind of like that there's no service there. No distractions.
You weren't trying to live stream with everyone messaging you telling you how horrible the audio was. It was great. I'm like, that's fine. We did the best we could. I saw Matt Caruso asked which 4 stages were never cleaned. It was 14, 15, 19, and 21. So 14 and 15 were with the horrible wind, the foundation stocks walkout or whatever that it was the bowling pins, right? Weren't those the bowling pins?
Oof.
And the Vortex tires that were right next to it.
Those tires were brutal, by the way.
Okay, so no one cleaned those 2 stages. Then
got a few more.
19, well, 21 I know was the first stage, the 3rd day, and that's the 1100. They started at 1100 and walked in. And
Yep.
from what I saw, it's like everybody missed the first 1100 and then they hit and they found it coming in. A lot of people. You're
What was the
muted.
fourth one? What was the 4th one?
Hold on. Tom was trying to say something, but he was on mute.
I saw a couple first round hits on that stage. It was just,
They
I
just
did.
missed on the
Yeah.
way.
but yeah,
That was the first target twice.
That's right.
And then 19 was the Hoppies Field Fire. It was, okay, it was to the left of the bunker, the prone stage and the grass up by the bunker.
Yep. And the
Hard to
hardest
hear.
part about that stage was if you lost it, and that was you had no signature from your miss. I mean,
Firm.
it was a real field fire. When you missed, that bullet was gone.
Tom,
You know
I
what I
want to tell you that stage was brilliant. So if you would have flipped that around and been near to far, the scores would have been half of what they were. The fact that it was far to near seemed to be intimidating, right? But you had the berm on the far one. So you
That's
could
the
at
only
least,
one.
yeah, you could at least see your impact or your miss. After that, they were like lollipops on sticks with nothing behind them. And people were going around the targets probably. I know I missed 2 or 3 times on it because I saw it hit like at the bottom of the post. I'm like, what the hell? I can't be low, And I'm like, that's got to be the bullet going around the target and landing right at the post, Change your
It
window.
was.
Yep. I thought that was an awesome stage.
And then when you got down to like the 800 yards on that, all you saw was water splash up like 200 yards behind you.
Yeah.
So you had no idea what was going on other than, that was water. So I missed, but, and those are, that's kind of a little bit of like Oklahoma shooting kind of thing, right? I mean, it's a little bit of the field fire Western style, and then a lot of the Southeast. And we took that all into consideration building the course of fire, So, it worked out well.
That's cool. But those were the 4, Matt, that nobody cleaned. All of them had someone that only dropped 1, but none of them were ever cleaned. Of those 4. Were there more lives, Greg?
I think that we hit the last one.
Okay, well, I saw a couple on Facebook, Greg, and one guy was like, Tom, what's your vision of this? Like, if it ever comes to fruition, like exactly what you wanted it to be when you thought of it the first year, what is the thing? And I will just be totally honest with you, and it's pie in the sky. It may not ever happen. I don't know, but it's like you look at BASS, bass fishing, they're giving away $1 million, and they have so many non-endemic companies and sponsors. And you can see how we have reached out to non-endemic sponsors. We've got Zoom, we had Midland Radios last year. There's opportunity there, but our challenge, as everybody knows it's in the gun industry, is that we're, it's the guns, and we can't align with that. But we're trying to break those barriers down by how we run this event and how we do the targets, how we talk about it, and trying to make it a professional sport. But we have a big road to hoe on this, especially with the current climate regarding guns. But these guys are professionals. This is a professional sport. These guys do practice constantly, and they put a lot of time and effort. And I will always continue to try to do that, to bring new sponsors in. And you guys know we had Utah Air Guns and Air Force Air Guns, and it's like, what the hell are these guys doing here? Those are air rifles. Well, these guys are willing to be a part of what we're doing, and they're selling air rifles and building air rifles. And there's a huge sport around this that we don't even know about in the PRS, where you've got air rifles that are amazingly accurate. It's pennies around. And I mean, I went and watched a match in Utah earlier this year. They're shooting 300 yards with air rifles, and guys are killing elk and deer and pigs with air rifles. These are really cool things to have in your training arsenal, and also just fun things to have because we like to shoot. I mean, they make no noise, and they're silent and no recoil, and they're deadly accurate, man. These are cool, and super thanks to those guys for coming into something way outside of their wheelhouse and coming in big like they did, giving away rifles. And I mean, thanks to those guys. And like Chad, one of the Zoom baits, man, it's a fishing company, but they see the crossover. So love to have those guys, and we're going to continue to go after those guys, and bring more non-endemic people into the sport. And they're there. We just got to do the work to get them here.
That's awesome. So shout out to the Utah Air Guns guys. They gave us some shirts as we were getting ready to leave, and I put this thing on. I was like, what shirt am I going to wear for the show? I was like, my Utah Air Gun shirt. This is like the most comfortable freaking t-shirt I own, and it fits me perfectly. I love it.
We did a little video with him too, that'll go up, with him showing the air gun and some video of us shooting it. So we'll get that up.
And hopefully in a couple weeks, we'll have the guys on the show too, to kind of tell us a little bit more about them. Because y'all, like, I knew that there was kind of this cool air gun thing going on, but these things are freaking awesome. We got a couple more live ones. Sloan wants to know what it was on your playlist.
Shout out to Sloan. So this was an idea I had on the way to the finale. I wanted to find a way. I was flying by myself, sitting in the brewery at the airport, and I'm like, man, I really want to make a kick-ass playlist for the PRS Pro finale in New Mexico. I'm going to put a post out and have everybody send like their favorite song. And, it doesn't, any genre, whatever you want. And then I made a playlist in Spotify. And then I listened to that during the finale. And then when those songs would pop up, I would, think about the person that submitted it and get in the zone. And it was almost like they were there cheering me on. And it was really awesome. So many people put songs on this list. There's 9 hours and 13 minutes playlist for this thing. So for the PRS finale, it was called the PRS Finale Collaboration 2021. And then I took my favorite songs from that and a couple of other ones that I added. And you guys know my hashtag at this point. It's hashtag the match has already started. And if you search on Spotify, hashtag the match has already started. That's my playlist. And that's what I listened to over the weekend. And I added in Tom's submission, which was Beast. And that's when he asked me what song that I wanted to play during the fireworks and the big, shot, I said, we got to play Beast. And he's like, all right, parental advisory, we're playing Beast.
And there were kids there.
You owned it, Chad. You owned it.
It was fun. It was super fun, man. Thanks so much.
What other question, Greg?
Sorry, I was busy getting my music I'm gonna listen to at work tomorrow, all queued up and ready to go here. um, um, Jason asked, Chad, you post a lot about dry fire. Is that a staple in your prep?
Yeah, I think it was like it's the quickest, easiest, fastest thing you can do to learn your gear, learn your body, learn the props, the typical PRS props, and it doesn't cost you any money. So Jen and I were talking at the 2019, I think it was the 2019 PRS finale, and I was talking about just getting this dry fire board from SwanniesCompGear.com, and I said, you know what, let's challenge each other in a text message. I'll send you a course of fire and then you do it, and you send me a course of fire that I can be like totally unprepared with and you know, surprised by. And then I'm like, why are we doing this in text? Like we could just make a Facebook, I could just make a Facebook page and then do this. And I did it every week, and I was really diligent on it for, I don't know, a long time. I got over 50 different stages at this point. I don't do a ton of dry fire these days because I shoot so many matches. I shoot 2 matches a month, and there's already enough time. Plus I'm spinning barrels and, you know, doing 5 to 10 of those a week. And I don't do a ton of dry fire training anymore, but when I have a stage that I really, do poorly on, I'll come home and I'll recreate it. Or if there's something I think that I need to practice, or if I get a new piece of gear, it's huge for me. I mean, I absolutely love dry firing. It exposes the fundamentals of marksmanship, and specifically your trigger press and follow through. You can really see that in the reticle, and you can see the movement. The only thing you're missing is recoil and wind, obviously, but I shoot enough matches, I get the recoil and the wind. So I love dry fire. It's free.
Yep. I need to get back on that dry fire.
Yeah, me
Yes.
too.
You got to get to some matches too.
I know. If only they were free.
Yeah.
I'll get back eventually. I will get there.
Just win a couple pages.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll just borrow some money from my friends that are rich now. Isn't that right? So I don't think we ever asked you the last part of that question, as far as how hard did you think the match was? Difficulty. Do you think it was the right level?
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely perfect. Yep. I mean, there's only a couple stages, like I was saying before, I thought were, on the edge, just based on region or based on equipment. But I think that it was just spot on. And the fact that Tom and Shannon said that they went and changed target sizes overnight, that does not surprise me at all, because they just had that attention to detail to make sure that it was on the edge of the capability of the rifle plus shooter for every stage. And the time hacks were perfect for the amount of movement. It was really awesome. I think it was the perfect level of difficulty for the field of shooters that were there.
I thought so too. I mean, everybody I talked to, how are you shooting? Oh, so I don't think they felt it was easy by any means.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the wild thing about AG Cup is people that normally are like, oh yeah, today sucked, I dropped 2 points. They were having to work the way I do to get those impacts at this match. It's really cool seeing seeing all the higher level shooters challenged. So Tom, what's next for AG Cup? Any plans starting for next year? Format changes? Have you figured out the venue, the dates, anything like that yet? Because I got to get this thing on my calendar.
We for sure, it's gonna just for kind of consistency, it's gonna be the same weekend. Look, so we will continue to take feedback from the participants of this, and we will continue to tweak the course of fire. We will continue to tweak the format. But like right now, I will tell you this. I had the idea for this event, and it was just an idea. And I mean, like me, myself, and I, and Christy Hembry, who did all the details. If you don't know, I'm a big picture guy, and I have the idea for something big, but I'm not a details person. I know that about myself. And so I found a details person to check all the little blocks in between, A and Z. And that was Christy. And she did it wonderfully the first year, but it was amazingly hard work to go find a facility, carry your targets down there, carry every picket, pound every single picket, and make an event like this for the last 2 years. And by the time the guy showed up, I am tired and stressed and not enjoying it. So I had the idea, Christy helped me implement it, and we got the foundation set for it, and it worked great. And then when Shannon, I was like, Shannon, I just can't, sustain this. And he's like, we'll do it here. And you can do it at my place for free. And it'll be a break even thing for K&M and our facility. And I'm like, okay, deal. And from that made it so much better. Look, I had the idea for the AG Cup, and I, through the skin of my teeth and brute strength and ignorance, made it happen the first 2 years. But nobody runs a match better than Shannon King. And we all know that. I mean, just I don't care if you've been to every match in the whole world. Nobody runs a better match than Shannon K. That's just the truth. And it's the way it is. And having it his place, having him help me, it made it so much better for me. I think it made it the environment better for the shooters. And so next year, same weekend, same place. Now we are going to try to look for, I think the greatest thing for the AG Cup was, let's move it around. Let's do it in Washington. Let's do it in California, Texas, Oklahoma, wherever it's got to be. But because of this uniqueness of this event, you've got to have a match director willing to work his ass off to help us get the facility correct, to do it for no money. Shannon's the only one willing to do that right now. Maybe we'll get somewhere. And Shannon's with me. He's like, dude, if you can find somebody else that'll help you do it, where you can do it at a zero net, do it, move it, let's do it. But there's just nobody going to do that, because match directors do this because it makes them money, and they have a big investment, facilities and time and work and effort. And Shannon has Julie and Jay up there, who's a rock star, and Christy and myself, and working together to do this. We can do it on a it's basically a net zero thing for us, because this is the one event, that it's truly 100% for the participants and the shooters that show up and that qualify for it. Every dollar goes to them. Nobody's making money. And that's, this year, nobody lost a lot of money, and we were still able to do it. And that's because you got the sponsors that came in on it and helped us, and we were able to give that money back. And you can do the math on an event like this, and you'll see that I'm right. So same weekend next year, K&M. And from there, we're going to try to look for, facilities across the country that will help us do it. But K&M is kind of a unique facility. I don't really think anybody has much of a home field advantage there, because normally wind conditions are a non-issue. And if the wind is not an issue, then it doesn't matter. You go to some facilities, and the way the wind moves through the terrain, and you shoot there all the time, you've got a leg up on somebody else. And then you have a match like we had this past weekend at the AG Cup, and you've got crazy out of the norm winds. Well, it's the same for everybody. Even if you shot there every day, all year, that's something you're not used to. So I feel like it's a good venue. I think it's neutral territory, just based on conditions. But regardless, even if that, man, just to be able to provide this level of hospitality to the shooters and to the participants, man, I mean, that's the place to have it, So that's where it's at next year. We will constantly, will it be tweaked? That depends on the feedback we get from this year, and we were just starting to get that back. And Chad, you got a voice in this. Everybody that shot it has a voice in, how do we do this? How do we make it better? How do we keep it as good? Whatever it is, how do we not ruin it? But it's got to keep going, and it's got to be as good as it was this year. And the bar set for this year, in my opinion. And we're just going to try to keep it this well, and we're going to try to make it more lucrative. We want more money to give away. I mean, and that's, a lot of that comes out of my pocket. I'm happy to do it. As more sponsors get involved in it, as more competitors get involved in it, the pot goes up, and so basically it's an involvement, and that's on us, to drive participation in it. And I think as well as this year went, we will have more participation, and that's going to make it better for everybody. And Chad, I know I'll see you there next year, man. And
You will.
I know you bring the belt. I hope you get to keep it again, man. But if not, you pass it on to the guy that did it, man.
Pretty
That's
slim
just-
chance, man. There's such high level of competition. I don't know what to say. I feel lucky to have it for a year, and I won't be sad when I pass it off to Francis next year.
Well said. But there's going to be a bunch of other people that want you to pass it off to them instead of Francis. But
Not gonna happen.
I'm telling you, I ain't betting against Francis. Tell you that. I ain't betting against none of these guys up here, man.
I think that's kind of what made it cool is going into this, like looking at the roster, I was like, dude, any one of these guys could pull this off. Like literally, they're all such good shooters. I mean, it's kind of like golf. You look at the PGA Tour, there's a ton of good golfers, and a different one wins, they might have a couple, of wins, but it rotates around who wins it. The Masters, there have been some people that have won it more than once, but that's kind of like the AG Cup of golf, right? And it's not like the same person wins it every year because there's so many really, there's so much good talent out there. But I thought it was really neat that it could have been anybody really, depending on how you put your nose down and shot.
And, that's kind of why we do the reset. That's why, like last year, it was every day started at 0. This year, it was after day 2, it started at 0. It was because, it's let's bring it again, and everything is open to change in the format, but I think we have a format that's sustainable. We had a lot of good feedback on the 2-day going to the last day with a big cut instead of a small cut for 3 days. 2 days, big cut. And you look at the numbers and stuff on that, I think it's fair, but at the same time, man, it's just, I mean, you think of Francis, you're like, man, God dang, but this is the format that you come into, and this is how you're going with it, and I believe in it. I think it's the right way to do it. So that's how it's going to be until otherwise,
So Chad, you've won that cup now. What next? You gonna shoot Mammoth next year?
I don't think so. I don't.
What's your goals now?
So goals. So Francis and I talk about this quite a bit. What is our next goal? I want to clean a match. He wants to clean a match. I heard Tom say at the beginning of this interview that he wants to, the match should be cleanable. I don't think that match was cleanable. If that was your goal, you failed. I thought the match was absolutely perfect, though I wouldn't change a thing. But that match is not one that I don't think I can clean that match. But my goal is to always feel like the match is going to be cleaned. And I feel like every stage in that match, when I approached it and the RO said, "Are you shooter ready?" I thought I could clean that stage. And I think that's all you need to do. You need to have a match that's very difficult, but that the shooter at this level feels like they can clean the stage. So in that aspect, I felt like it was absolutely perfect. My long-term goals, I don't know how you top the AG Cup, to be quite honest. I finished 10th overall in the season, the pro season this year. I was super happy with that. I had a couple little hiccups along the way, but man, to get a top 10 bullet, I was just blown away. My real goals in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, is I want to find a way to show people what I know, to help them, to get people excited about this sport, and find a way to show them that this is possible. I mean, I've literally only been doing this for 3 years, and yes, I've devoted a lot of time, effort, energy, money, but I want to show people and inspire people that this is possible to compete at the highest level. You still need to, it's still any given Sunday type scenario. But I've won at K&M twice now in this year. So it's not all luck. There is a ton of hard work. And if you're willing to put in the work and you enjoy the sport, it is very, very personally rewarding. I really want to find a way to share that and inspire that in other people.
I told you after the mindset show that I thought you and Francis should write a book on mindset of PRS.
It might happen.
I think it'd be good. You put some drills in it, like Ben Stoger has the pistol books. Do one that kind of as a training regimen and all that. I think that'd be cool. As much mindset work as y'all do, I think it'd be really great. I think people buy it. I'd buy it.
Yeah, I'd buy it.
For sure.
Oh, Chad, I didn't mean I wanted the match to be cleanable, but I wanted the competitors when they got up there just to look at the stage and be like, this stage is cleanable.
Exactly.
I don't want the
I
match.
agree with you. No, I agree with you.
I feel like if you look at the course of fire through glass and read the stage brief and get the stage brief, you should think, I can do this.
I planned on cleaning every stage right when the RO said, "Shooter, are you ready?" So you achieved that goal. I absolutely thought I could clean every stage.
That's I feel like is the difference between a hard course of fire and a challenging course of fire that's not stupid, is that when you're like, yeah, I can do that, because we've all been to matches, especially years ago in the early days of the sport, where you're looking at the stage like, dude, I might as well just take my magazine full of ammo and throw it down range, because if I get one, I'm lucky, you know. But now I think the harder thing is to make it where you look at it like, this is cleanable. You may not, and hopefully you don't. And I think the numbers reflected well on this. I really thought the hit percentage would be a little lower based on the target sizes and the conditions we shot in, and changing the target sizes in accordance with the conditions. But I feel like that says that's a testament to the level of competition here, because I felt like it would be in the mid to high 70s, and it wound up being in the,
Mid 80s.
So it's just every year we get better at what we do when shooting rifles. The gear's better, the optics are better, the ammo is better, our knowledge is better, our skills are better as shooters, and this match showed it. And I mean, you can look at the percentage and be just like, hey, that was an 85% rate match. Well, until you shot it, you really don't understand how hard this really was to get 85%. And you're never going to get that until you were here. And it's a testament to you guys that came and did it, and nobody's going to know until they actually shot it. It's tough.
Brandon Crawford said, PRS barricades at 908, clean it. They did. Some
Yeah,
I
they
can't
did.
remember how many, but they did clean
It
it.
was a
That was
66%.
ridiculous.
It was a 66% IPSC and a 45% IPSC at 905 from the PRS barricade, but it was 5 positions, not 4.
And it was cleaned.
And it was
Yes.
clean. But so people that have shot this know the PRS barricade and know the target's usually 10 inches at 400.
400.
So that's
Yes.
2.5 MOA. And you're talking about what's a 66% IPSC at that?
Yeah.
MOA.
I can tell you it was bigger than most targets at the match. That ratio was bigger than most targets at the match.
You guys were shooting 1.2 MOA targets
Yes.
for the most part, on positions, and you guys got an 85% hit percent. What do you do? How hard can you make it? But
I told Ken Wheeler on the last stage, I was like, dude, he's like, how do you feel? I'm like, dude, this is amazing what we're doing here. I mean, I'm going to lay on top of this, Crown Vic and shoot targets out to 700 yards. Like you said, 1 to 1.2 minutes with a little 6mm bullet. Like, this is amazing. My mind is blown right now. I don't care what the score is. I don't care where I finish. Like, this is awesome. This is awesome.
The level of detail Shannon brought to this when we did Course of Fire was, circles versus squares versus diamonds. I mean, he's the master at it, man. He's like, okay, well, let's just, okay, it's a 6-inch target. Well, let's just make it a circle instead of a square. And that just, immediately that's 25% harder, or whatever that math is. I don't remember what he said, but I'm just a dumb guy that wants to do something cool. And Shannon's like the details dude that's in the weeds on it, but he nailed it. He nailed it. And I appreciate everything he did to make this cup the best one yet. So
Awesome. Greg, do we have any more lives?
Yeah, Shane said you need a good writer and a psychologist to make sense of your brains and put it into words.
Probably.
who said that?
Shane Yoakum.
Okay.
A couple of heck yes, write the books.
That's the secret, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, hey, can we do a shout out to Allison Zane?
Oh my gosh.
Dude, she was on fire.
Are you kidding me? I mean, like day one, strong second, day two, what, second still, maybe third. I knew she was gonna. I mean, dude, 16-year-old. I've raised a couple teenage daughters. They ain't like her. I mean, I'm telling you, man. Her poise, man, the way she goes in there, man, and huge credit to her dad too, Frank. Man, what a rock, man. I mean, he's the dad we always were, you know, and just wonderful family. So glad to know him. So glad to support him, and just, man, Allison, watch for her, boys. I'm telling you. Yeah, everybody knows it already, but God dang, she deserves a shout out.
She was up there. She cleaned
$4,000.
won 4 of the stages. She's just fast. She just gets up there and then she comes off and she's like, oh, whatever. I mean,
Dude,
I mean,
if anybody says that her dad's feeding her win calls or ideas, they're full of crap. I mean,
No,
I've seen
not
them
at all.
argue about win calls when he's like, you should do this. And she's like, shut up, Dad. I'm going to do this. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
Does it
whatever.
on her own.
I
And it's obvious. she
think her
shot-
dad shot 1 or 2 matches ever. I mean, you know, he's just there. He's her biggest cheerleader, man. And I think what Frank does for Allison is way worth more than a win call.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now. So good for you, Frank and Allison, man. I just wonderful family. It's a pleasure every time I get to meet them. Be
I
with them.
want to hire her to train my daughter to shoot when she's ready.
Yeah, I want to hire her to train me to shoot when I'm ready.
Yes.
Probably a good idea. I'll pitch in on that.
yeah,
Yeah,
all of us could learn.
yeah.
She
Oh,
is,
definitely.
so she's a machine. I mean, if you watch her shoot, her bolt throw is the same every single time. I mean, nothing changes. You could take, videos of her doing her bolt throw 5 times, lay them on top of each other, and they will look exactly the same. I mean, she breaks that trigger and immediately throws that bolt, and it's the same exact every time. It's just,
her movements are smooth. She stays, like, you could see in her face how calm she is the entire time she's shooting. And, I've shot matches that she was at before and whatnot, and I've seen her shoot, but like this weekend I was able to spend a lot of time watching her shoot, and yeah, y'all better watch out.
it's very consistent.
Mhm. She's like a shooting machine.
Any more lives?
That is it for the lives. Oh, Allison's watching. You're welcome. You're awesome. Great seeing you shoot. She said, thanks, guys.
Hi, Ellie.
She's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nothing else on the lives?
So Alan just said, and actually this was something that was brought up during our live broadcast that I think would be pretty cool. There's a lot of us that are watching that are fans of the AG Cup that shoot with these guys all the time. I know pretty much everything that's in Chad's gun. I know everything that's in a lot of people's guns, but there's a lot of people that are watching that are not PRS Pro Series shooters. So Alan said it'd be interesting to see a list of everyone's gear, actions, chassis, rings, optics, cartridge, bullets, blah, 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 everything. And that was something that we were asked about during one of the live streams. And so maybe next year, maybe, I'm not sure if you're doing a survey, but it would be cool to see kind of a gear survey and put that out of kind of some of the top shooters. But if not, maybe next year we could do that gear survey beforehand and kind of put it out to some of our shooters or some of our viewers to what people are shooting.
We actually did that last year. as the competitors signed in, or actually before they even showed up to the venue, they had to fill out a sheet on that, and we published it last year. We didn't do that this year, and we will incorporate that next year, and we will give you that data, Jennifer and Greg. But it's no surprise. I mean, to when you look at it, look at the sponsors that are sponsoring the events, and those are the guys that's the stuff they're running. So,
Mhm.
you know, it's, Chad talked about what he was running, and it's consistent across the board. I mean, there is the recipe to success, and there's multiple companies that do the same thing, but that will put you in the winner circle. But we all know who those are, and it's just really about you get any of those good companies stuff and gear, and it comes out of training and practice, right, Chad? I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's the cup's been won with 3 different optics, 2 different bullets, several different calibers. I mean, it's the person, man. I mean, you put the time in and you do it, and I mean, no matter what, it always is going to come down to that. It's always going to come down to that every time.
And these guys that were shooting, all of them are pretty accomplished, like on the way to the match.
And girls.
And girl, yes. When I say guys, I mean the generic. But they all have, a lot under their belt. I had Greg call out, and I sat there and wrote notes on every single shooter. And there were some of them that, I'd say, well, give me like their top finishes, or their, if they've won any matches, tell me that. And I'll write them down. And he'd start reading, and I'd be like, okay, just stop reading them and tell me how many matches this person's won. 8. And I'm like, they've won 8 matches. Yep. I'm like, good grief. There were a couple of them. Somebody had won 6, somebody had won 8. I mean, Allison's won 4. So it was just interesting to look at the depth of that field, and how this is really accomplished, talented shooters. It was a stacked field. It really, really was. So to come out on top, Chad, props to you. That says something. It's something to win a match, but when you win a match, you don't necessarily have all the good shooters there. And I think that's what AG Cup does, is it pulls all the shooters from all across and attracts them in for this one match. And so you really do get to see where you stack up, not just, well, I won this match because so-and-so wasn't there,
And
Yeah,
it always will be that way. It always will be that way. And that's and that's my pitch to grow this series. It's like, come on, guys. You watch it. I mean, put your money where your mouth is. Let's go practice, get up in here and win some money. $30,000 is not chump change, and I'm 100% certain it's going to be more next year. It will be.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, the way it's growing. All right, well, if we're good on the lives, unless something just came in, we will wind it down to shout outs, because it's getting to be my bedtime. So we'll start with Greg. What shout outs you got?
All right, I got GSL suppressors back there, making me nice and quiet with my little 22 pew. Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta, our local indoor and outdoor ranges. PDC Custom, most beautiful rifle chassis known to man right there. Shooters World Powder, keeping me still able to shoot even with everybody else being out of stuff. I've been pretty good at being able to find their stuff just like on the shelves at Shooters of Augusta. Hunters HD Gold, because I'm blind as a bat, but I could see a lot better with that. And Fix-It Sticks to keep everything together, or take it apart, or put it back together again, or take it back apart.
Tom, what you got? Any shout outs you want to do? Match sponsors, or?
I'm not going to list them by name because I don't have the list in front of me. However, the sponsor of the AG Cup, on the AG Cup page, you'll see every single sponsor. I've listed them all by name, and if I try to do it again, I'll miss one because I failed to bring a list in front of me to do it. But the biggest shout out I have is to the competitors that are willing to put their money where their mouth is and sign up. And they're not going to sit there and talk shit on the internet. They're going to come here, throw their money down on the table, and go for it. And that's what this event is about. And that picture you showed of Chad and Francis sitting there together, that's what this sport is about. And you get into this sport, you will meet the best friends that you will ever have the rest of your life, and you will cherish those people for the rest of your life. And I'm telling you, this is a great group of people The AG Cup takes that to a different level where you are amongst the best of the best. You're learning from each other. You're sharing a friendship with each other. And that's why we all do this. All right. I mean, I'm so proud that we're able to give this kind of money away. But to develop these friendships and build this stuff that you'll cherish the rest of your life, that's what this is about. And I guarantee you, Chad will agree with me on that. And
Absolutely.
thank you for all the guys that believed in this format and this event and came out and laid it down and said, let's go for it, man, because it's not an easy thing to do. So thank you.
Yep. Chad, what shout outs you got?
Man, how long do you have? Man. So I got to thank my wife for giving me the time and to support to do this. Like Tom said, I want to thank the competitors because they gave me some money, number one, but even more importantly, they gave me motivation to bring my A game. And I want to thank Francis Cologne. We've talked about him a ton here, and I feel like he deserves it. Find your Francis. That's what I want to say. Find your Francis, because you will make each other better. Tom Fuller and Armageddon Gear for making awesome gear bags and giving me the best playlist tune. Zoom Bait, who gave me the $1,000 stage win, and all the other sponsors like Zoom Bait that donated money, and I don't have the list either, but that was super awesome. And then I want to thank all the companies that support me, and I'm going to listen quick so that we don't take all night. I do my own gunsmithing, 5x5 precision. If you guys, need rifles built, that's me. But all the rest of them, Lone Peak, I run the Lone Peak Fusion, Tracy and Jeff and everyone at Bartline Barrels. What I didn't say earlier was that I was running a barrel that when I took the last $23,000 shot, had 2,400 rounds on it, and it's that new Mod 400 steel, and it is still shooting, a one hole group. I love those guys, and I've never asked them for anything, and they always, help me out. Amazing people. Loophole Optics came in clutch with the hat and maybe some scopes too. Masterpiece Arms, I run the BA comp chassis, Trigger Tech Diamond. Accutech bipod. I was using the Accutech WB4 when I made the last shot, and just super stable, and they support a ton of matches. Like Accutech, you can find them on almost every prize table. Absolutely amazing bipods. I just got picked up by Team Vitavori this year, so I'm going to be running Vitavori powders, Burger bullets, Blue Brass. Applied Ballistics has asked me to be an ambassador, and I actually I'm super thankful for the relationships and the data and the knowledge that they bring to the sport. And I know that when I go and ask them for, ballistic information and information on what we do, external ballistics, they are going to have the answers that everybody needs. And I can share that with everybody else. And that to me is exciting. I mean, I'm a mechanical engineer, and that just really gets me excited. Shout out to 419 as well for the Maverick, because man, our hearing is very important, and I shoot a lot of rounds, and I'm very thankful that they make a product that gives us accuracy and reduces the decibels. And shout out to Swanee. I haven't seen him in a while too, so I miss you, buddy.
Oh, everybody loves Swanee.
Yeah, I ain't seen Swanee for a hot minute.
That's right. All right, and for me, I just want to shout out Tom for putting this on and having the vision and helping to grow the sport. I think you're a huge player in growing precision rifle in general, with AG Cup. I mean with Armageddon Gear as well as AG Cup. I think you're always there, helping anybody out that needs anything. You're just like, oh, here, and I think that that's just great. You're always there and accessible if anybody needs anything. And I want to shout out Chad on this win. I was so proud. I consider you a friend. I go in unbiased as media and try to not be biased at all, but I do love Chad and Francis because I've shot with y'all multiple times and have really considered y'all friends. And so it was really great to be on the line and watch y'all work all weekend and
You
see.
guys
the
put in a lot of work, and I can't tell you how many people messaged me or called me over the last couple of days and said, I was talking to a guy on the way home. I was watching the shoot off in the Sam's Club, and I had the volume on 11, you know, and people were looking over at me, gunshots are going off, and the wife told me to turn it down, and he's like, I don't care. I'm watching Chad in the shoot off. So it's awesome of you guys to put it forth all this effort and you know, come right home and get right back at it. We're still up. It's 11 o'clock or whatever. So thank you. Thanks to you guys.
Yeah, we enjoy doing it. It was a lot of fun to do it. And then it's just a shout out to all the shooters that were there. I think it was, you know, everybody was good sports all weekend. I think it was just a great time for everybody involved. And so I really enjoyed that. So thanks for spending a couple of hours with us on Tuesday night. And let me know when that book is out and I'll buy one.
Get right on it.
With that, we will see y'all. Actually, tomorrow night, there's going to be a special edition of Shooter's Mindset. There'll be some information coming out about that tomorrow morning. So look for that. See y'all tomorrow.
2022.